Today, we're diving into one of the world's most heartbreaking paradoxes, the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's a country with almost unimaginable natural wealth, but it's been trapped in a terrible cycle of conflict and exploitation for what seems like forever. And the latest chapter in this story? Well, it starts with a number.
32 million pounds. That's how much aid the UK was sending to Rwanda every single year. But very recently, that funding was suddenly cut off. And you have to ask yourself, why?
To get why the UK would suddenly pull this funding, we've got to look next door, to Rwanda's gigantic neighbor, the Democratic Republic of Congo, or the DRC. The answer is all tangled up in a really brutal and complicated conflict. But before we get into all that, we need to make one thing crystal clear.
Okay, so you've probably heard of the Congo, right? Well, there are actually two of them. The one we're talking about today is the big one, the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's the former Belgian colony, capital Kinshasa. We're not talking about its smaller neighbor, the Republic of Congo. So, just so we're all on the same page, anytime you hear us say the Congo from here on out, we mean the DRC.
To really get what's happening in the DRC today, you have to look back. I mean, way back. The problems we're seeing now, they didn't just pop up out of nowhere. They have deep, deep roots in a dark and violent history of exploitation that started more than a century ago. So, picture this. It's 1885. The Congo isn't even a colony of a country. It was the literal private property of one guy, King Leopold II of Belgium. His whole operation was built on harvesting rubber, and it was so unbelievably violent that it caused a global scandal, forcing him to hand over control to the actual Belgian government in 1908. But even after the country finally got its independence in 1960, that pattern of exploitation was already set in stone. After Leopold, the exploitation just put on a new suit. International companies swooped in. For instance, Lever Brothers, a huge British company, got a massive deal to produce palm oil for its soaps. And how did they get that oil? Their local company used the exact same brutal system of forced labor that had been perfected in the previous era.
And if you want to know how they justified this, just listen to this quote from William Lever himself, back in 1924. It is chilling. It just lays bare the racist ideology that was behind all of this. This whole idea that they were bringing civilization, when in reality, it was just about profit, built on the back of immense human suffering.
And this dark history of exploitation is what makes the whole situation so tragic, because the DRC is sitting on an absolute goldmine of natural resources. And this gets us right to the heart of the country's central paradox. It's a land of staggering plenty where the people face just staggering problems.
I mean, just look at this contrast. On one side, the DRC has 70% of the entire world's cobalt, the stuff that powers your phone, your laptop, electric cars. It also has the world's second largest rainforest. But on the other side, the reality is just grim. It has the third largest population of poor people on the planet. Nearly 6 million have been forced to flee their homes inside the country, and over 26 million people are in desperate need of aid. It just doesn't add up.
And here is a huge piece of that puzzle. A mind-boggling 95% of the DRC's entire export economy is just minerals, like copper and cobalt. When your entire economy hangs on just a few valuable resources, especially in a region where the government is weak, you basically paint a giant target on your back. It becomes a magnet for conflict.
And that brings us full circle, right back to today, to that conflict raging in the East, and to that 32 million pounds in suspended aid. This is where the story gets really murky, as we start to unravel allegations of a proxy war.
So you have credible reports from the UN and others accusing Rwanda of giving massive military support to a rebel group called M23 inside the DRC. And we're not talking about a little help here and there, we're talking thousands of troops, weapons, training, the whole shebang. And what are these M23 rebels doing? They're capturing key areas rich in minerals, especially coltan, which again is vital for all of our electronics. The human cost has been absolutely devastating, with thousands killed just this year. So what on earth does all this have to do with development aid? Well, this quote from Dr. Ian Overton really gets to the heart of it. It's a concept called fungibility. It's a bit of a weird word, but the idea behind it is how money meant for good things can have really dangerous unintended consequences.
So here's how the argument goes. Think of it like a chain reaction. Step 1. The UK gives millions to Rwanda for development projects. Step 2. Because that foreign aid is now paying for, say, a new hospital, it frees up money in Rwanda's own national budget that it would have spent. Step 3, that freed up money can then, allegedly, be diverted to military spending. And step 4, that military spending is what fuels the conflict across the border in the DRC. As you can imagine, these allegations are a huge deal, and they've triggered a major international response. This leaves the future of the entire region, and especially the people of the DRC, hanging in the balance.
And it's not just the UK. The international pressure is seriously ramping up. The European Union has suspended defense talks. The United States has sanctioned high-level Rwandan officials, and the UN Security Council itself has passed a resolution demanding that Rwandan forces withdraw from the DRC. The message is getting pretty loud and clear.
Which brings us back to the core tragedy of it all. The DRC is a nation with so much potential, resources that could lift every single one of its people out of poverty. But instead, it's trapped in a vicious cycle where that very same wealth is the fuel for the fire, powering the conflict that keeps them impoverished.
And this leaves us with a final, really profound question. When a country's greatest blessing, its incredible natural wealth, is also the source of its deepest curse, how does it ever break free? There are no easy answers here, but it's a challenge that the people of the Congo and the entire world really have to confront.